Hello and welcome to Tetra Football. I'm George and Chelsea should be embarrassed. Honestly, I cannot believe it. Leeds 3, Chelsea 0. It's an utterly ridiculous scoreline. I don't think anybody would have predicted that. Not even like die-hard Leeds fans could have imagined beating Chelsea by 3 goals at their own, even though it's still at their own stadium. I just don't think you could possibly imagine Leeds winning that game 3-0. It's practically on the level of United's 4-0 loss to Brentford. There was a silly goalkeeping mistake from Chelsea, just like De Gea, Edouard Mendy. He messed up, obviously thought he had more time on the ball, then he couldn't get out of his feet and Harrison tackled him to get the first goal. There's lots of similarities between the two games. Obviously, if you look at the stats, the Leeds players ran like 10 kilometres more than the Chelsea players, which is ridiculous. That's almost like for every outfield player, the Leeds player was running a whole 1,000 metres more than the Chelsea player, which is ridiculous. That's similar to the difference between the Brentford and United players, which Ten Hag is furious about. I believe Tuchel will be fuming with his players after that game. There just wasn't enough effort. Leeds just putting in much more effort. They wanted that game. They were explosive on the counter-attack. Aronson, Harrison, Rodrigo, they were all lightning. They were just getting forward. They wanted to score on the counter-attack. They were breaking forward to get into the box and try and score, and they got the 3 goals they deserved. I think Chelsea did have more of the ball, but it didn't help them much if they're not doing anything with it. What's the point of having the ball if you aren't going to actually attack and create chances with it? I mean, that game was just horrible for Chelsea. It was scuffed, really. There wasn't... Edouard Mendy didn't do well. Koulibaly looked decent until he got that silly red card. Honestly, what was he thinking? He was like a headless chicken there. He had no thought in that. He was already on a yellow card. He did not need to bring down Gelhardt. It was unlikely Leeds would have scored from that attack anyway, so I think that was a really stupid idea from him. And now obviously he's going to be banned for like 1 to 3 games. I'm not sure yet. But yeah, it's just appalling from Chelsea, really. They didn't have any desire to win that game. Leeds completely outrun them. They were up for it. They were energetic. They were explosive. They defended well as well. Strike at the end of the game. They're 3-0 up. Chelsea had a red card. He's still going in for a header, which he nearly got injured from to stop Chelsea scoring. Leeds wanted that. Jesse Marsch clearly had them fired up for it. And overall, it was a really, really good performance from Leeds. And Chelsea looked poor. It was a lacklustre performance from them. And it looks like something needs sorting out of that club at the moment. It's just not going too well. I'm not sure their transfer business is too smart. I mean, Cucurella's meant to be really good. He looked quite poor in that game. It's not looking good for Chelsea after that performance, especially with the Koulibaly red card. Don't know who else they're actually going to play there. That could be very worrying. The 3-0, 3 goals, it's just ridiculous. But you've got to give credit to Leeds. I mean, I can't believe it. Leeds were fantastic. Tyler Adams and Rocker in midfield, they were brilliant at holding down the fort, stopping Chelsea getting forward, breaking down the attacks. They did so much off the ball work that won't get credited for, but that was masterclass on those two in midfield. The Americans actually doing well for Leeds. I think that is very good. Tyler Adams, he's leading the league for tackles, and he is showing he is a quality holding midfielder. And then you've got Aronson, obviously the other American they're playing. He got the first goal by his press. He's just up for it. He's bringing pace, energy. He's just bringing it all to Leeds. He's their main man at the moment, bringing it forward. Well, he's maybe not their main man because you've got Rodrigo, currently the Premier League top scorer. I think he's on 4 or 5 now already. That is mental. He has replaced Bamford really well so far, and I think it shows that Bamford maybe he might end up being a one-season wonder if Rodrigo takes his place. He's looking much better, much sharper. He's winning every header he goes for, which is really impressive against the big centre-backs. And he's just winning everything. He's up for it. He wants it. And despite last season him being a 30 million odd signing, didn't look too good, but now he's really come to life and he's looking really good. Chelsea. After that fiery 2-2 draw with Tottenham that they deserved to win, you could never imagine them going and losing this game. It's just not good enough at all. Tuchel needs to sort out their defence clearly, and they're just not showing enough going forward. There's no real attacking threat for Chelsea. They still lack a goal scorer. So whether this curse for the number 9 is really affecting them or something, because they haven't bothered bringing anyone in, and they've got no one to play up there and score the goals, which was clearly a problem. But that whole game for Chelsea, it was just scuffed. Like, multiple times a Chelsea player took a shot and it was blocked by their own player, which was offside. And even though it was offside, the player couldn't even put in the simple tap-in they then had. Obviously, the Leeds centre-backs, Koch and Llorente, looked very, very good. They were very solid. I think they're going to be pivotal for Leeds moving forward, and hopefully can, keep Leeds in a very good position this season, obviously improving on their near relegation. Yeah, but Leeds, they just look really good. Harrison as well, he was quality on the wing. He was just all over Reece James. His desire to get forward and score. He obviously did get a goal in the end, Rodrigo assisting him after Harrison had assisted Rodrigo earlier with his free kick. That was a great worked goal from the free kick as well. Harrison whips it in, Rodrigo with the header glancing it over Mendy into the far corner. But it's just quality from Leeds today. Chelsea were poor, especially Mendy. I don't know what he was doing for that first goal. It's just calamitous, really. You wouldn't expect that from Humpty Dumpty, but Mendy's gone and done it. He's meant to be really good. And I know Ryan will be fuming at that Chelsea result. Hopefully the Chelsea fans don't overreact, though. Tuchel out would be a ridiculous shout, because he won them the Champions League. You've got to give him more time, because he's the one that changed the poor Frank Lampard project into a very exciting Chelsea team who are very hard to beat. And just because of a poor result at Leeds today, that shouldn't overshadow what that team has won. Although, you have to admit, there's no goals for Chelsea. You don't know who is going to score. They've got no goal scorer, no attacking threat, and that's what gives teams like Leeds, lower down in the table, the ability to push forward and press Chelsea, because although they might be good at the back, they will eventually crack, and with no one to be ruthless up front and put away the chances, you're never too worried about Chelsea scoring. Speaking of a goal threat, though, you've got to give full credit to Rodrigo at the moment. I've already mentioned him. He's leading the goal scoring charts. He's looking lethal at the moment. If he keeps scoring, then you can see Leeds finishing quite high up. That was a really impressive performance today. I think they just outrun Chelsea completely. The stats show it. They were just nowhere near the energy levels and the intensity and pace Leeds brought to the games. The sprints their players were doing was ridiculous. I remember in the 50th minute, Chelsea broke forward 2-1-2, but within an instant, it was just 5v2 back for Leeds. They just wanted to win that game so much. You could see the passion. Jesse Marsh celebrating at the end. That club has got a really exciting project going on. Sinestra came on, he looked pretty decent. He needs to adapt to the Premier League, obviously, but the Leeds project is really exciting. I really like that double pivot of Rocker and Adams in the midfield. I think they'll be crucial for Leeds, just like their two centre-backs. Meslier obviously didn't have much to do, but he's still a young keeper, so you might see some mistakes from him, but today looked pretty solid. Only had to make 2 or 3 saves, not too challenging for him. Maybe other teams could put him under a bit of pressure, but Chelsea obviously did not do that. Like I said, they lack a proper striker, and they should just be embarrassed the same way United were after that 4-0 loss to Brentford, because Leeds could have easily got a 4th goal. There were chances for them, and yeah, Chelsea, that was a poor result, really. You've got to imagine that they will improve, because if they don't improve, you'd be worried for them. They honestly, that game, there's not much difference between United 4-0 against Brentford. The lower teams obviously have more confidence. You can tell the league is getting better with teams like Brentford and Leeds able to get this result, and that means that the higher up teams seriously need to up their levels to get results, because Palace drew to Liverpool, Fulham drew to Liverpool. There's obviously a lot more competition in the Premier League than there has been over recent years, so you really need to see the top clubs grinding out results every week, which at the moment no one other than City than Arsenal is doing. Those two obviously look like the best 2 teams in the league at the moment. Jesus on fire for Arsenal, but that's a different topic. We'll probably talk about them another day, but this video is for Chelsea versus Leeds, and just full credit to Leeds and Jesse Marsh. People are doubting him, doubting the signings as well. Not too many big names, quite a few Americans from New York Red Bulls and just other players from the Red Bull franchise as well, due to his links there. And maybe Leeds will be RB Leeds in the future. Could be interesting. Doubt that'll happen though. Leeds seem to have a decent owner, and I think if they can perform like they did against Chelsea, then that club is only going to be on the up in the future. And yeah, there's not much to say about Leeds. Very exciting, very good team. Obviously, a brilliant performance. They have the energy levels. It's just whether they can keep it up all season. But if you want to talk about Chelsea, they just looked poor all over the pitch. Mason Mount didn't really do too much. Havertz wasn't showing anything. New boy Sterling wasn't brilliant. And obviously, their other new signing in Koulibaly got himself sent off, which was silly and reckless. That honestly shocked me that he did that. That was a really dumb decision from a seasoned veteran centre-back like him. You don't want to see your main marquee centre-back signing doing stupid stuff like that, especially at his age. He's like 30, he's meant to be a leader. He won AFCON with Senegal. You don't want to see your star centre-back do that, really. Then Cucurella as well, their other new signing, I don't think he looked too good. And yeah, it's just the same problem for Chelsea. No real attacking threat. So obviously that defensive line is going to crack eventually. Because going forward, they just didn't really have anything. Even at the end, when Tuchel was trucking on Pulisic and Ziyech, completely taken out the midfield, Chelsea still couldn't break down that Leeds defence. And that is quite worrying for them, because if Southampton can get 2 goals against Leeds, other teams can score against them, and Chelsea can't. You've really got to worry about who's going to score the goals for Chelsea. It's just really, like I said, Chelsea should just be embarrassed. It's poor. They need to sort it out. And why don't you guys tell me what you think about Chelsea at the moment down below? Obviously, Leeds did really well. I've already said that many times. I'm honestly just impressed by Leeds. That was a wonderful performance. Yeah, so you guys tell me what you think down below. Remember to like and subscribe, and every little helps. Thanks for watching.